Hello and happy World Card Making Day. Great excuse for us crafters to pull out our supplies and make a little something. So today, strangely enough, we're going to be making some cards, and because it's part of my Kaleidoscope release week, we're going to be using these gorgeous stamps to make something with. So let's get started. So I am using the butterfly style stamp set to get started with this, and I am using my Memento ink pad because I plan on doing some colouring with my Copic markers. So Memento is the best because it's not going to react with the alcohol in your alcohol markers. So I'm just putting it down, allowing a bit of time for the ink to transfer onto the paper and getting my stamped impression. Choosing my Copics, these are my skin tones. I have actually written a list of the Copics that I used in this particular video for once, and normally I forget about that. So I will put that in the description box below of the Copic markers that I did use. So these are my favourite skin tones. I think this is E04, E13, E11, E21, E00, and E000. So I'll start off with my darkest tones. This video is sort of sped up. It's about 4 times as fast as it was in real life, just to give you an idea of that. But colouring is a long, slow process, and it would be an extremely long video if I did this in real time. So this allows you to see my process, but without you having to give up half of your life to watch it. So I am looking at the shadow areas first, building them up first. I tend to work dark to light. There is no right or wrong way to do it. I know artists that do it both ways. When you do work dark to light, what you can tend to find is the lighter colours will sort of desaturate your darker colours. If you think about how alcohol inks work, if you play with like Ranger ones, the ink that you put on top repels the other ones. So that is what happens, and that is what gives it that blend, but it can also just lighten your work as you're going. So I do tend to give my colouring a second layer as a result of that. So I'm just going to go in and start doing my second layer now. As you'll see, to be honest, I was having real difficulty with this paper. I have just changed into my new studio, and I've put my papers in the compartment where they're meant to be, and I'm just about to show you the problems I'm having here. So I don't know if you can see that bleed is happening, and there's a strange shadow there under the lip, and that is down to the paper that I am using. I'm not using the normal paper. I either use an Express It, or if you use like a HP printer paper as well, that is used to taking the inks. I don't know what paper I've grabbed here, but it is making life difficult. If you find that's happening, don't blame yourself. It is the paper that is the problem. Also, I'm not going to throw it and scrap it. It's not perfect, but to be honest, this is not going in Take Gallery. It is going into making a card. So I'm not aiming for perfection. If it looks nice, if there's bits that bother me, we can cover it with glitter or embellishments or whatever. So just keep going. If it's not right, it's not the end, and it's okay if, you know, things aren't perfect. Sometimes it's just good to embrace the imperfections. So I am also now building up the butterfly again, starting with the shadow area first and then moving into my lighter colours. So I think for these I'm using RV09, RV06 and RV04, but as I said, I will put it in the description box below. And then I'm just about to grab my yellow pen and just finish off the edge parts that are white and bring in the yellow, and that is just going to sort of lift it and give it that translucent feel and two-tone feel, which I love. So when I craft, I tend to create what I call a bit box. So I'll spend an evening stamping out images, colouring them in, fussy cutting them out. So I have almost like a box of goodies and embellishments ready to use. So that's what you can see on my desk there. At this point, I did actually decide to edge my card. I normally do that anyway, to be honest, at the end of the process. But the reason I did it at this point was because everything was blending in with my desk, so you couldn't actually see what I was doing. So it was just to give a focal point to look at. So at this point, I'm sort of taking all the elements that I've got and additioning them up. I had this idea of this collage effect, Quite often I've seen these sort of steampunk ladies and they've got lots of cogs and things in their hair. That's kind of what I was wanting to go with, the industrial look along with the softness of the butterflies. So that was the idea I had in my mind, and I just sort of keep moving it around. So I kept it in so that you can see the process, because sometimes the finished arrangement and how we get there, it doesn't just happen. It can take quite a bit of faffing, as you can see here, but I have sped it up. So I think this is about 4 times as fast as real life, just so you can get an idea. Eventually I like the compass there, so I decided to just stick that there and commit to that. And then I keep sort of rearranging things until I am happy. So I do recommend doing this. Sometimes I take photos along the way as well, if I get to a point that I like it. But here I'm just sort of moving things around. There's not really much to say about that, is it? I'm just faffing. Faffing away and having a lovely time. It's all part of the creative process and enjoying what we're doing. I quite like this stage, you know, just sort of trying to work it out so that I'm happy. So I eventually placed that little butterfly. There was a little bit that was annoying me because there was a gap. So I finally managed to fix that. So I get that all sort of stuck together so it looks like a paper embellishment. And now I'm working on the design. I'm wanting that idea of the collage sort of to organically cross the rest of the card. So I'm pulling out my stamps again. These particular stamps here that I'm just using are from the Butterfly Style set, and I also used some from the Wings of Change stamp set. Again, everything will be linked in the description box below. So I'm just building that up, as you can see. I also keep taking the girl on and off the page just so I can see how what I have put down, how it's working with the overall design. I want to be able to see those 3 areas of design coming out with the main part. So I just keep double checking that before I commit to gluing it all down, which I have done at this point and added the sentiment. So I'm just now grabbing some paper, and that is to protect my work so that I can add my finishing touch, which in this case will be some paint splashes. So I pulled out my favourite Jane Davenport paints, and that pink, as you can see, is almost gone. Love that one. And I'm just getting that in there and lightly tapping it over so that I can add the final touch, and here it is. So I hope you have enjoyed creating with me today. If you have enjoyed it here, please do consider liking and subscribing, and I will be back with some more crafty goodness for you to enjoy very, very soon. Okay, take care then, and goodbye.